Hey everybody, welcome back to the 80s Slashers YouTube channel. In this video, I will be discussing and reviewing the 1980 Australian slasher Nightmares. We will discuss the plot of this film, the setting, the kills, the nudity. We'll talk about the Blu-ray itself, before wrapping it up with some final thoughts. So yeah, Nightmares. Now this was the winner of the most recent poll, for which I put up on the channel, for basically which 80s slasher everybody would like to see reviewed next on the channel. This ended up beating out some films such as American Gothic was was the runner-up, Berserker, Death Screams, and Nightmare in a Damaged Brain. And I'll be honest, I'm glad that this won. This is obviously, if you've been watching the channel, this is a new pickup. I just picked this up not that long ago, and I was really hoping to watch it and review it. So I'm glad that this won the poll. Like I said, I was just looking forward to watching it. So yeah, so pretty cool. All right, so let's get into it. So, like I said, Nightmares is an Australian slasher from 1980. This was also known as stage fright. Now, this was released in Australia in October of 1980. So it was only released less than 6 months after Friday the 13th. So, as you can imagine, I found there aren't too many similarities, with the slasher formula that was established in Friday the 13th. In fact, according to the director of this film, some of the major some of the major influences for this film were John Carpenter's Halloween and Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, which, when you watch this, they become pretty evident throughout the film, especially in regards to some of the camera work and the musical score. And we will get into all of that in a little bit more detail, but before we do, let's just kick this off. Let's just start right out by talking about the plot. Alright, so basically what this film is about, we start off in the 1960s, and we see a young girl who is witnessing her mother being, from her perspective, kind of being used and abused by various men in her life. It seems like there's a constant flow of new men with her mother. It doesn't portray her mother in the best light, and she witnesses, her mother being intimate with some of these men being not very nice or cruel to her as a young child. So that's kind of we kind of see her, a background flash into her life as a child. And then we see how she's basically in a car with her mother and one of these random men, and she is sleeping in the back seat, and they're in the front seat getting intimate, and the mother's driving the car, and the guy is putting the moves on the mother, touching her in places inappropriately where she's trying to drive, and she's saying, stop, I'm driving, stop. Playful, when the young girl wakes up in the back seat and thinks the man is attacking her mother, or being rough or aggressive with her mother. So she's like, hey, get off my mother, stop. And the man and the mother say, go back to sleep, what are you doing, leave us alone, you know what you're doing. And all the commotion it causes, the car to get in an accident, and we see the mother basically fly out through the front windshield as they get in a car accident, and she's killed. She gets, looks like her throat gets impaled on a broken shard of the windshield, and it all happens in front of her eyes. The male survives, the child survives, but the mother does not. And then we see, the young girl getting passed around. I don't know if it's through the man that was with the mother, or if it was another man, or if an orphanage. It's not really clear. But she's getting passed around as a child without her mother, and she gets blamed. Like the men are, blaming her for her mother's death, and they're being especially cruel to her and mean. And there's like hints of maybe some abuse going on. So basically, she has a terrible, traumatic childhood. And then, of course, we flash forward, to the 1980, I guess, present day, 1980. And, yeah, this young woman grows up, and she's an aspiring actress, a stage actress. And, we get to see her. She goes to audition for a local play with like a kind of a well-known director, stage director, and she meets the cast, she meets some friends, she meets a boyfriend, and then she starts working on this play. And then, as they're rehearsing the play and whatnot, she keeps having nightmares, obviously, flashbacks to her youth and this horrible childhood. And then, of course, during the rehearsal and the process of this play, people around the production start getting killed off one by one. And there's the mystery, the slasher mystery. What's going on? Does it have anything related to the girl's past? Is it something else? That's basically the setup, and it plays out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not too elaborate of a story, but it's your standard slasher fare for the early 80s. It's not really reliant much on on a deep plot, but more of the other elements that we're talking about within this film. But yeah, that's basically just a brief overview of the plot. So the first thing I'll say is that this is a great little Australian slasher. And that is a very literal statement, because this film is unfortunately fairly short in its running time. It's listed at 82 minutes, but when you take out the credits and whatnot, you're looking at a film that runs in the 70-minute range, late 70s, I don't know, like 76, 77 minutes, something like that. Now, I'm not saying that's a negative, just something, to be pointed out. Now, the fact that this is an Australian film also really helps it out, at least with me, because the Australian film industry at this time had a certain flavor, or like a feel that I don't know, I just really dig it. It's weighed up my taste, I guess. Maybe it's because they're all the actors are all mostly Australian. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed the entire cast, and the characters that they portrayed. They all have like a charming quality to them. Is it the accent? Maybe, probably. The Australian accent, just their way of life. Like it's different than what we're used to, like in these American movies. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. They're just these Australian films. They're a little more looser, a little more edgier. Like just like the dialogue, the characters' actions, motivations. I don't know. It's just I don't know. I like it. I like these late 70s, early 80s Australian films. I just like them. They're great. Now, the lead actress in this film, she's actually American, and she's all right. She's I wouldn't say she's like the best actor in this film, but she's all right. But I have to say she's absolutely stunning. Um, just yeah, she's absolutely just beautiful, fantastic to look at, and her eyes, you can kind of see in the cover here. as she's acting, her eyes do a lot of the acting for her. Very expressive. The camera a lot kind of zooms in, and she just, like, the eyes, like, they're very expressive. Like I said, like, they open up, they narrow, they kind of look around. Um, just great, just fantastic. Yeah, so I really enjoyed the lead actress in this film. Like I said, she's beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. Now, this whole film kind of has a sleazy tone to it. In all its elements, it's not really like Maniac or the New York Ripper type of sleaze. But again, I guess I would characterize it as, like, I don't know, Australian sleaze. It's different. It just, I don't know, it has a really good feel, a good tone to it. Um, it's just, like Maniac and New York Ripper, they feel similar in their the sleaze factor. And this, I guess this has a little bit of that, but again, it's different because it has that Australian. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain it. I guess it's its own thing. But yeah, it's great. Like the opening scene in this film, like, the first few minutes of this film, the setup. We get right away. We get like a kill. We get some blood. We get some, like a kind of graphic sex scene, some nudity. It just kind of throws it all right at the beginning. Kind of throws it all in within, like, the first 2-3 minutes, whatever it is. And it's great. It's just like, you know what you're in for. It's the type of film it is. It's great. Now, I mentioned this before, but like I said, there is some Halloween influences that you can clearly see from this. The biggest example, of course, is the frequent use of like POV, like point of view shots, and that are like tracking shots down hallways. You're following, the camera's following a point of view of, usually the killer, as they're, hunting and stalking their victims. And like I said, it's very reminiscent of Carpenter's style, especially in his '78 Halloween film. I love those shots in this film. They're really good. They really add to the atmosphere of the film. Really adds to, like, the tension in some of these scenes. It's really, really well done. Now, another thing that is really, really great that I really liked about this film is the score. The score is used really effectively in this film. It's used to elevate, again, the tension. Whenever, like, whenever a kill is about to occur, like, with, it's just the score kicks in, and it's just, it just does a great job. Without a doubt, this score is influenced by Hitchcock's Psycho, and I guess by default, Friday the 13th, which again is kind of influenced by Hitchcock's Psycho. But the score mostly consists of, like orchestral strings that, they start playing, and then they gradually get louder and louder as the tension elevates. Again, also, like, just very similar to the way Psycho and Friday the 13th did that. It's clearly inspired by that, but again, it works. It works really well, and it sounds great. I love it. It's one of the things that really stood out to me was every time we get to see a kill, that music kicks in, and it just adds to the tension. It's fantastic. Now, I will say another thing I should note is the reveal in this film it's pretty predictable. I'm not sure if they were trying to keep you guessing, or if they were just being obvious with it. I don't know, but there really is no, from my perspective, there was really no big twist reveal. It was, you kind of set it up. You knew what was happening. You know what was going to happen, what was going to occur. Which is fine, I guess. I do like a nice twist. I like it when they get me, and I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And it's always that, that one clever, plot twist. Like, the screenplay, the writer. I like it when they get you, and you're like, oh, I didn't catch that. I didn't pick up on that, and they got me. that's one of the aspects about these films, this genre of film that I love. I like to be tricked and fooled. But it's pretty straightforward in this. It's not gonna surprise anybody. But yeah, like I said, it's fine. Now, if I had one complaint with Nightmares, it is that the editing I found was a little choppy at times. And what I mean by that is whenever there was a transition between scenes, to push the narrative forward, they kind of occurred pretty abruptly. Like you were watching one scene and it ended and it went, black. And then the next scene would start, different location, and the dialogue would start, and they were just it's the next part of the film, and it wasn't a smooth transition. Like the movie didn't flow nicely, if that makes sense. um I don't know, it just, again, it's not a big deal. Like it just, it may be possibly due just to the Australian style of filmmaking that I'm just not used to watching. I don't know, but it was just something that kind of stood out to me while watching it. I don't know. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the overall, elements of the plot and the story. It was good. I liked it. I liked the story. Like I said, it's nothing elaborate, but they did a good job. Great music. The cast was good. The characters, yeah, it was fun. It's a good flick. It's good. It's fun. All right, let's end that there and let's move on and take a look at the setting. All right, so the setting for Nightmares is great. It's absolutely great. Now, a large majority of the film takes place in like a theater, like a stage theater, like a production, like a Broadway type stage performance theater. And the theater that it takes place in appears to be really old. It's as you're watching it, it feels like they're rehearsing in a stage that's just it has that old classic vintage style, from like the 1920s, 1950s. I actually looked it up after. There's actually three different theaters used in the making of this film, and two of them are dated to the 1920s, and there was one from like the 1800s, late 1800s. So yeah, that's the type of theaters, like the old wooden seats. They rely on the acoustics. The walls are wooden. They rely on the acoustics. It's built specifically for acoustics, for like voices to travel. And there's like the upper deck and like the main stadium seating area. It's great. It's really old. It just has such good character. Now, due to the age of these theaters that we used, it really creates a unique and distinctive feel. Almost like it's at times it's like haunting and spooky. Like you can imagine, like if someone said, "Oh, this old theater is haunted or something." That's like you'd be like, "Okay, yeah, I get that," because that's the look of it. It's that old. It has that history behind it. It's great. It's fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And another thing that was really cool was the theater seems huge. It seems like a really big, like the movie. It doesn't seem like it's a confined, tight, small little, local, theater. It seems big. Like you think like the Sydney Opera House. Like we all know what the Sydney Opera House looks like. It's huge. That's almost what this feels like. It's like really, maybe not that big, but really big theater, and it's great. Because of that, there's like many different areas that we get to explore with it throughout the film. There's so much space and room for the victims to get isolated from each other, for the killer to hunt them down, stalk them, get them alone, and prey on them. It's great. They can scream from a distance, and you believe that no one hears them screaming because the theater is so large. It's great. It's fantastic. You know, and within the theater, all these different locations are utilized really well. You know, of course, you get like the main stage. We get to see people, you know, the actors rehearsing on stage. We got to actually get to see the actual performance, like you know, on opening night. You know, when the play is opening, we get to see some of the live play. You know, as it's going on the stage. The actors are actually performing for an audience, and then you know you cut away and you see like what else is going on backstage, and then like the wardrobe and all that stuff. It's really cool. Like I said, we get to see some backstage things, like you know, we get to see the lobby, like the theater lobby, guests coming in, welcoming, like up the big stairs to go into like their boxes and whatnot. We get to see like the dressing rooms, like the props, wardrobe, you know, makeup type rooms. And then of course we get the basement, which is like super, super old and creepy and dark, which is used really well. All these areas are used really well. Like there's some kills in most of these areas. It's just it's great. This yeah, the setting for Nightmares is fantastic. Absolutely love it. And like I said, because of the age of it and the way it's used, you know the theater setting is a character within the film for sure. It's one of those ones that's really used um, to its maximum. So yeah, two thumbs up for the setting in Nightmares. I really enjoyed it. All right, let's move on and talk about the kills. All right, so there's a total of 10 total kills that I counted in Nightmares, which is a pretty healthy body count for sure. Now, in terms of pacing, the kills are pretty, you know, they're paced pretty evenly throughout the film. You know, of course, we get, you know, there's a couple that wait, like I said, they kicks off the film, and then of course, you know the finale conclusion is always a little heavy, but you know we get some throughout the whole film, which is always nice. I always like that when there's no big lull. So you know, like I said, there's only like 70 some minute running time, so you get through it pretty quick, and you get peppered with it pretty much throughout the whole film, which is great. I really like that when slashers can do that. Now the kills in this film, they're pretty brutal. They're mean spirited. You know, we get people getting killed. A lot of the time, when people get killed in this film, it's when they're at their most vulnerable, when they're, you know, they're having sex, or they're like some kind of an intimate moment. And then, you know, they're not expecting it. They may be clothed, they may be unclothed at the time. You know, it's pretty, it's pretty, yeah, it's pretty mean spirited. You know, and due to like the brutality, you know, we, a lot of the kills, like I said, when they happen, they kind of have that kill and nudity mix together. Like it's kind of, you know, this it kind of adds to that sleaze factor I was talking about. You know, it's yeah, it's pretty unique. Now, we because of like I said, half the time when people are getting killed, they're naked or half naked. We also get to see some, I guess, what you would say, mutilation of victims, you know, private parts, genitalia, or in the vicinity of those areas. You know, we get a lot of that in this film. It reminds me of the New York Ripper did a little bit of that as well. You know, this obviously is before New York Ripper, but um, yeah, you get that. It's I don't know. It just kind of when you see people getting slashed, you know, on their, you know, their backside or their breasts or in their front, it's sleazy, man. It's brutal, and it's I don't know. It's mean spirited. It's a lot of anger behind the kills. Um, yeah, so that's kind of like I said, ultra sleazy, pretty good. For me, I like that. I don't know. Now, a majority, if not all, of the kills are really like true slashing kills. You know, there's not a lot of originality with, you know, different weapons or whatnot. In fact, the main weapon that's used almost every kill is a broken like a broken shard of glass. You know, so due to these due to those style of kills, there's not really a lot of practical effects that were used. But it wasn't really required for those types of kills. There's decent slashing effects, with small slash wounds being shown, and some of them, you get to see, like, when you get a slash, you can see like the kind of wound open up. We get a little bit of that for sure. Plenty of blood. There's a lot of blood in this film, which is great, and it looks real, and like I said, it's graphic. But like I said, the selling point of these kills is more the tone and the style of the kills. As like I said, they're pretty brutal and kind of nasty. The best word to describe these kills is gratuitous. It's These kills are very gratuitous in nature. We're just seeing people getting killed for the sake of being killed. There's no fancy, I'm gonna get like a garden tool, or I'm gonna, you know, whatever, like whatever surroundings, use something. It's usually like a piece of glass, and people get killed with them. And it's like I said, it's pretty brutal. If you would have witnessed someone doing that, this is kind of what it looks like. That's how it felt. Like you were witnessing people just getting slashed up with glass. It was I don't know. It was good. So yeah, overall, like I said, like I said, nothing too creative, too unique with a ton of practical effects, but I still classify these kills as really good. They're really great kills. They're just really brutal at times, and like I said, they feel real. I don't know. They just feel more real than most kills sometimes. I don't know. I thought they were pretty great. So, like I said, you're not getting anything spectacular like some of these slashers are known for. Pretty straightforward hack and slash, but done really well in a pretty visceral way. So yeah, I really enjoyed the kills in this film. All right, let's move on and talk about the nudity. All right, so Nightmares has a total of three separate nude scenes. Now, um, these three scenes, they happen. You see them, happen. Which I guess for an 80s slasher, three scenes is pretty good. You don't usually get a lot more than that. Um, but these three scenes keep getting repeated over and over and over again in like flashbacks or whatnot. They keep going back to show these scenes. So because of that, there's a ton of nudity in this film. Like I said, it starts at the beginning, and it goes right up to the end, and like it just you probably don't go 5 or 10 minutes without like a flashback showing some nudity, and then you get a new nude scene, and then it flashes back and shows that same nude scene again. It just repeats it. So yeah, I would, even though it's the same stuff, you get a lot of it, and some of the shots are really long and extended. um yeah, like it's like, again, like the kills, the best way to describe the nudity in this is gratuitous. But it's even though it's gratuitous, like when you think of gratuitous nudity, you think of like the Friday the 13th films and all that stuff. Women taking their clothes off and say, "Oh, I'm gonna go for a swim. Anyone care to join me?" And giggle and laugh and run slowly into the water. Just getting nude for the sake of showing nudity. That's the case with this, but in this case, it again, it's that sleazy factor. It's not like women taking their clothes off just for the sake of taking their clothes off. We happen to come upon them in the film, like I said, as they're in an intimate moment, and then they get chased while they're naked, or they get killed while they're naked, and we get to witness it and see it. So it's the amount and the way that it's covered, and it just makes it like a sleazy, gratuitous mix. It's pretty interesting. It's I don't know. There's not too many films, like I said, that are like this. Again, New York Ripper has a little bit of that as well, I guess. Now, like I said, most of the kills that occur like have this nudity contains. So it's like that mix that we get quite a bit. Now, the I should say that at times, briefly, but there is a few moments in this film that the nudity that you see can borderline, pushing up against the border of like an X rating. Um, it doesn't go there, but it's pretty graphic at times, and the parts that are graphic are quick. Like the camera doesn't linger on the extremely graphic, but there's some there's some simulation, I guess, in like certain types of touching between characters that can be, like I said, it pushes right up on the border of the X rating. And there's a little bit quick shots, but there is some full frontal nudity shown in this film. So yeah, like again, it's the film doesn't pull any punches. It's just like the brutality of the kills. The nudity is it's kind of hardcore. They put it in your face, and it's not glamour nudity. A lot of these films are like, glamour, like look how beautiful these women are. It's kind of like that. This is not like that at all for those films. This has an in your face, like, yeah, these women are naked and whatnot, but they're getting killed at the same time. So look where you want to look. Look at the nudity, look at the blood. It's all mixed together. So it's that's the mixture. So that's the kind of nudity that you have in this film. So like I said, if you like your 80s slashers with a lot of that sleazy type of nudity, then this is definitely the film for you. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on the nudity. So let's move ahead and let's just take a look at the Blu-ray itself. All right, so yeah, so this Blu-ray is great. Now, as you can see here, it was released from Umbrella Entertainment pretty recently. This came out in 2021. It's part of their Exploitation Classics line. This is number 6. This is the only 80s slasher that they have. They have some other stuff. Great line, great package. When I opened this, the first thing I noticed was like how thick the package. Like it's a thicker Blu-ray. There's not many like that. You get this really cool slipcase. There's some nudity on the back, so I won't show too much of the nudity here. Um, yeah, you get some kind of, I guess, some alternate artwork here. And on the back, you get alternate artwork again under the stage Fred heading, which is a great cover. Again, the eyes. All these pictures have the eyes, which is very expressive. I won't open the case because there's a big nude picture in here. Like it's not reversible cover. It's just basically a scene from the movie, and it's a nude woman. So that's what's in here. One single disc, one single Blu-ray disc. What am I looking at here? Yeah. So now, like I said, the audio, let me see, the audio visual is fantastic. It looks really good. It sounds really good. Like I said, the score is crunchy and loud. It's really in your face. I can't imagine it looking or sounding any better than this release. Umbrella did a fantastic job. So yeah, like in terms of presentation, audio-visual presentation, highly recommend it. Looks fantastic. Now, special features. Like I said, here we have like an audio commentary with the director John D. Lamond. He's funny, man. There's an interview with him. He's a funny guy. He's like like typical Australian. I think he did some. I don't know if they were X-rated Australian films, but they were like borderline X-rated softcore, whatever you want, before he did this. So that's kind of, I think, the tone, some like the sex and nudity mix there. Yeah, I think that was kind of his background history. But yeah, so you get a commentary with him. Um, there's a movie called Not Quite Hollywood. It's a documentary on like the Ozploitation film industry. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. And they talk about this film in there. So, but on here it's some extended interviews with the director, and it's great. It's about 30 minutes you get of him talking about stories about the film, and it's great. It's like he said, he's really lively. He's a really he's an interesting character for sure. So that's great. Um, yeah, you get the director, one of the actresses, and the cinematographer. Then you get some deleted scenes. You get about 9 minutes of deleted scenes, which is great. And then there's a Confessions of an R-rated filmmaker featurette, which is about 8 minutes long. So you get about 47 minutes of extra watch time with this, not including the audio commentary. Then you get like a trailer reel, posters, TV spot, theatrical trailer. So yeah, pretty good, solid little set. You know, you watch the film, then you get, and you know, as like I said, another 47 minutes of stuff to explore. Region free. Um, so yeah, this is fantastic. I absolutely love this Blu-ray. Um, I definitely recommend picking it up if you can find it. Um, so yeah, that's basically all I have to really say about the Blu-ray. So yeah, let's move on. Wrap this up with some final thoughts. All right, so yeah, I really enjoyed Nightmares. You know, maybe because of its, because it's such an early 80s slasher release, and because of the fact that it's an Australian film with that style of filmmaking that comes along with that. This film just has a very different feel and tone than most in the genre. You know, this this film, it just kind of oozes that gratuitous, sleazy violence and sex vibe. That it's just, I don't know. For me, I like that type of film. It's I don't know. I just I really like it. You know, the kills in this are very sexual in nature. The sex scenes in this contain a great deal of violence. And those two elements are intertwined really well together to create this, this sleazy feel. And at least for me, I really like that. Nightmares, I feel, is a film that just has a lot going for it. Besides the sex and violence, that we already discussed, the acting is really good in this film. It has a fantastic score, which really contributes to like the tension and the atmosphere. It has some really good camera work, that elevates, the tone of the film with its, with its use of some of this POV tracking shots. It's really good. And of course, it has an amazing theater setting. So, yeah, there really isn't too much not to like about Nightmares. I thought it was really good. You know, it's not the longest film, but again, the short running time just means it doesn't waste any time with any filler. It just kind of gets to it and just plows through it for a really fun, enjoyable little slasher. So if you like your slashers with some some sleaze, then definitely check out Nightmares. I definitely recommend it. All right, so yeah, that's it, guys. So that's the review of Nightmares. So just once again, thanks everyone for watching, subscribing, leaving comments down below, thumbs up, all that stuff. It's greatly appreciated. And yeah, thanks for voting for the poll. If you guys keep voting, I'll keep putting up the polls. It's kind of fun. Let you guys kind of have a say you know, what you guys get to see next. So yeah, really fun. All right, guys, that's it. So yeah, all right, until next time. All right, see ya.